All right, let's try this again. This last couple of pages and then another chapter. The thrower waited again. Then, in an extremely understanding voice, he said, "Well, I never did. That's rather a tall order, isn't it? What do you think yourself?" "Well, sir," said Hazel, "my brother doesn't really think about these feelings he gets. He just has the feelings, if you see what I mean. I'm sure you're the right person to decide what he ought to do." "Well, that's very nice of you to say that. I hope I am. But now, my friends, my dear fellows, let's just think about this a moment, shall we? It's May, isn't it? Everyone's busy and most of the rabbits are enjoying themselves. No ill for miles, or so they tell me. No illness, good weather. And you want me to tell the Warren that what's his name? Your young brother here has got a hunch and we must all go traipsing across country and across the country to goodness knows where and risk the consequences, huh? What do you think they'll say? All delighted, huh?" "They'll take it from you," said Fiber suddenly. "That's very nice of you," said Thrare again. "Well, perhaps they would, perhaps they would. But I should have to consider it very carefully indeed. A most serious step, of course, and then..." "But there's no time, Thrare, sir," blurted out Fiber. "I can feel the danger like a wire around my neck, like a wire. Hazel, help!" He squealed and rolled over in the sand, kicking frantically as a rabbit does in a snare. Hazel held him down with both forepaws, and he grew quieter. "I'm awfully sorry, Chief Rabbit," said Hazel. "He gets like this sometimes. He'll be all right for a moment, and then he'll be okay in a minute. What a shame, what a shame. Poor fellow. Perhaps he ought to go home and rest. Yes, you better take him along now. Well, it's really been extremely good of you to come and see me, Walnut. I appreciate it very much indeed, and I shall think over all you've said more carefully. You can be quite sure of that. Bigwig, just wait a moment, will you?" As Hazel and Fiber made their way dejectedly down the run outside the Thrush burrow, they could just hear from inside the Chief Rabbit's voice assuming a rather sharper note, interspersed with an occasional "yes sir, no sir, yes sir, no sir." Bigwig, as he predicted, was getting his head bitten off. That's the end of chapter 2. Chapter 3. Hazel's decision. What am I lying here for? We are lying here as though we had a chance of enjoying a quiet time. Am I waiting until I become a little older? Xenophon, the Anabasis. I think that's Greek too. But Hazel, you didn't really think the Chief Rabbit would act on your advice, did you? What were you expecting? It was evening once more, and Hazel and Fiber were feeding outside the wood with two friends. Blackberry, the rabbit with tipped ears, who had been startled by Fiber the night before, had listened carefully to Hazel's description of the notice board, remarking that he had always felt sure that men left these things about to act as signs or messages of some kind, in the same way that rabbits left marks on runs and gaps. It was another neighbor, Dandelion, who had now brought the talk back to the Thrush and his indifference to Fiber's fear. "I don't know what I expected," said Hazel. "I'd never been near the Chief Rabbit before, but I thought, well, even if he won't listen, at least no one can say afterwards that we didn't do our best to warn him." "You're sure, then, that there's really something to be afraid of?" "I'm quite certain. I've always known Fiber, you see." Blackberry was about to reply when another rabbit came noisily through the thick dog's mercury in the wood, blundered down into the brambles, and pushed his way up from the ditch. It was Bigwig. "Hello, Bigwig," said Hazel. "You're off duty?" "Off duty," said Bigwig, "and likely to remain off duty." "How do you mean?" "I've left the Owsla. That's what I mean." "Not on our account. You could say that. The Thrush's rather good at making himself unpleasant when he's been woken up at Frith for what he considers a piece of trivial nonsense. Frith, remember, was noon. He certainly knows how to get under your skin. I dare say a good many rabbits would have kept quiet, and and thought about keeping on the right side of the chief, but I'm afraid I'm not much good at that. I told him that the Owl's privileges didn't mean all that much to me in any case, and that a strong rabbit could always do just as well by leaving the warren. He told me not to be impulsive and think it over, but I shan't say lettuce stealing isn't my ideal of a jolly life. Not sentry duty in the burrow. I'm in a fine temper, I can tell you. No one will steal lettuce soon, said Fiver quietly. Oh, that's you, Fiver, is it? Said Bigwig, noticing him for the first time. Good. I was coming to look for you. I've been thinking about what you said to the Chief Rabbit. Tell me, is it a sort of tremendous hoax to make yourself important, or is it true? It is true, said Fiver. I wish it weren't. Then you'll be leaving the warren? They were all startled by the bluntness with which Bigwig went to the point. Dandelion muttered, leave the warren, frithraw, while Blackberry twitched his ears and looked very intently, first at Bigwig and then at Hazel. It was Hazel who replied. Fiver and I will be leaving the warren tonight, he said deliberately. I don't know exactly where we shall go, but we'll take anyone who's ready to come with us. Right, said Bigwig. Then you can take me. The last thing Hazel had expected was the immediate support of a member of the Owsla. It crossed his mind that, although Bigwig would certainly be a useful rabbit in a tight corner, he would also be a difficult one to get on with. He certainly would not want to do what he was told, or even asked by an outskirter. I don't care if he is in the Owsla, thought Hazel. If we get away from the warren, I'm not going to let Bigwig run everything, or why bother to go? But he answered only, good. We shall be glad to have you. He looked around at the other rabbits, who were all staring either at Bigwig or at himself. It was Blackberry who spoke next. I think I'll come, he said. I don't quite know whether it's you who persuaded me, Fiver, but anyway, there are too many bucks in this warren, and it's pretty poor fun for any rabbits that's not in the Owsla. The funny thing is that you feel terrified to stay, and I feel terrified to go. Foxes here, weasels there, Fiver in the middle. Begone, little care. He pulled out a burnet leaf and ate it slowly, concealing his fear as best as he could. For all his instincts were warning him of the dangers in the unknown country beyond the warren. If we believe Fiver, said Hazel, it means that we think no rabbits at all ought to stay here. So between now and the time we go, we ought to persuade as many as we can to join us. I think there are one or two of the Owsla who might be worth sounding, said Bigwig. If I can talk them over, they'll be with me when I join you tonight. But they won't come because of Fiver. They'll be juniors, discontented fellows like me. You need to have heard Fiver yourself to be convinced by him. He's convinced me. It's obvious that he's sent some kind of message. It's obvious that he's been sent some kind of message, and I believe in these things. I can't think why he didn't convince the Threr. Sorry, my eyes are getting a little blurry. Because the Threr doesn't like anything he hasn't thought of for himself, answered Hazel. But we can't bother with him any more now. We've got to try to collect some more rabbits and meet here again at Fu Inlay. And we'll start Fu Inlay too. We can't wait longer. The danger's coming closer all the time. Fu Inlay must mean really quickly. It says, we've got to try to collect some more rabbits and meet again here, Fu Inlay. Fast. And we'll start Fu Inlay too, fast. We can't wait longer. The danger's coming closer all the time, whatever it is, and besides, the Threr isn't going to like it if he finds out that you've been trying to get at rabbits in the Owsla, Bigwig. Neither is Captain Holly, I dare say. they won't mind odds and ends like us clearing off, but they won't want to lose you. If I were in your place, I'd be careful whom I pick to talk to. That's the end of chapter 3, Shannon, and my eyes are kind of fuzzy, so I'd like to go through 4, but maybe I'll get up in the morning and bust it out. And I'm not reading it in between either. I'm just reading it as we go. So, I love you, Shannon. Good night, baby. Good night, baby.